No podemos tener esta celebración sin tener una actividad a distancia. Estamos celebrando educación digital, educación a distancia, 35 años de TEC, y no puede ser sin que tengamos a un invitado a través de la tecnología. Y el día de hoy me siento muy honrado de que haya aceptado la invitación y que nos acompañe. Nuestro invitado especial, Josh Weiss, es el director del Centro de Aprendizaje de Stanford University, y me voy a permitir presentar a Josh. Lo tenemos ya para poderlo... Josh, how are you?
Good, Joaquín. ¿Cómo están ustedes?
¿Ya ven? ¡Bravo! Thank you, Josh. Gracias, Josh. Sé que hablas muy buen español y bienvenido. Te voy a presentar, Josh. Josh Weiss, Director for Learning, the Center for Learning Solutions at Stanford University, has been 7 years. He's 7 years as an educator. Josh worked in public and private schools in U.S. and Brazil as a literature instructor. In his current position as Director of Digital Learning Solutions at Stanford Graduate School of Education, Josh serves as the connective tissue between learning and technology. Josh partners with professors, researchers, and practitioners to strategize, design, develop, and iterate digital learning. His role also entails data gathering and exploratory projects and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, extended reality, and blockchain. Josh, thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Y bueno, pues entramos rápido a la sesión de preguntas. Una pequeña breve plática, Josh. El doctor Bates nos platicó sobre el pasado, el presente, el futuro. So Dr. Bates told us about the past, present, future of where education, technology, distance, online learning. I would like to ask you, Josh, your opinion of where do you see digital learning, online, distance, all these technologies. Where are we going? Where do you see we are going? What is in your portfolio in Stanford? What are you thinking? Where are we going?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you to Michael, Joaquín. Gracias a todos por estar aquí conmigo. Es una lástima que no pueda estar ahí con ustedes, pero la próxima vez, espero. And I'm going to do this in English, but I will try to speak at a slow pace so everybody can feel like they're joining in the conversation here. It's an amazing event. A lot of this is looking back and looking forward. I'm going to try and do a little bit of kind of where we're at right now, just to kind of answer that question that Joaquin has here. I mean, Dr. Bates set it up really nicely. We're kind of in this moment of, I would say, perpetual innovation. So in 2020, we were all called upon to go remote. And at Stanford, we literally went 100% online in one weekend. And it was insane. But we did it. And from that experiment, we realized that if we need to move quickly, we can. We can't do it every week, but if we need to, we can do it in short bursts. And then things started to settle down a bit with COVID, and students came back to campus. And then AI happened in November of 2022. And since then, we've been in this next burst, and maybe you've been kind of feeling this as well, where you're trying to catch up to the technology. I work and live in Silicon Valley, and I very much feel what Dr. Bates has said, that some days I kind of feel like going for a round of golf rather than trying to keep up with all the AI. But I do think there are some important things to consider with this moment in digital education. How do we keep our eye on the innovation, but then also stay focused on the crucial questions facing education? And I think for digital education, the big one is, how do we get better learning to more people? I think that's almost a civilizational goal as well. And it's kind of encouraging. We've seen some cool stuff going on in this new wave with remote and then also AI. I can give an example. If you've been keeping up with the tech adoption in India and Indonesia, they're actually, in workforce terms, AI is being used in a disproportionately high amount in those emerging countries. So there are really good examples out there of people using AI in the workforce. And then what does that mean for our learners? Well, it means when they enter the workforce, they're going to be one of two people. They're going to be prepared for this AI workforce, or they're going to be not prepared for the AI workforce. Is it our job to get them more towards the preparation side? No one can be 100% prepared. And I would say, yes, at least for me, as someone who used to be an instructor, I would feel that I want to get my learners to where they need to be skills-wise and knowledge-wise. And classically, universities are pretty good at the knowledge transfer. But is it now on us to think about that skills incubation as well? And I can talk about this more in a bit. And just one more thing I can say on this, Joaquin, is, you know, it's very easy to get caught up in the shiny new object. Sometimes it's metaverse, sometimes it's AI, but our learners know that too. They know that there's a wow factor, where for the first few times you try it, it feels amazing just for the novelty of it. But once that wow factor wears off, what's left? And I think this is what Dr. Bates is alluding to as well. Good learning is good learning. If good learning can be amplified by virtual reality, if it can be amplified by AI, if it can be amplified by Zoom, then we all win. But if we're just relying on the technology to keep people engaged, it's not going to last forever. After a while, people are going to start to realize that engagement is more than just being excited about the pixels on the screen. It's as much about the relationships and the type of learning that they're getting along the way.
Thank you, Josh. Another comment I would like from you, in terms of faculty. You know, universities, Stanford, great universities, always have great faculty, and sometimes faculty might be hesitant to go into this all the way use of technology. And for many years also we've seen how online education, digital education might be seen as second level. This is changing. So in that sense, what do you see in Stanford? What is your approach with faculty for adopting the technology? Can you comment on this?
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's two ways of thinking about it. One is top down, one's bottom up. It can either be mandated as something that everybody has to do, or it can be in conjunction with that, a bottom up, where you give people a chance to experiment and try out and kind of find their own use of it. What my team especially is doing is the bottom up, and that's kind of in combination with the top down. Let me give an example of this. So in the fall of this coming school year, we're going to have what we're calling an AI tinkery. And all it is a little hallway with a few computers and a little whiteboard. And the idea is people come in and there's someone sitting there that says, what is your question about AI? And this is for professors and faculty as much as it is for students. And you would be surprised at the range of questions people come in with. The question that I had initially when I was walking into these spaces is, how do LLMs actually work, right? And you start with actually experimenting with playing with tools like ChatGPT. And along the way, there's somebody there that can help you to understand what's going on behind the scenes. How is this being designed and made? And the second step of that I'm even more excited about is turning educators into designers of their own technology as well. And this would have been impossible even 4 or 5 years ago, because you would need to have a PhD in computer science to be able to code your own computer program or to be able to design your own chatbot. But now the hottest coding language is English, as they say, or in this case, I might say in Spanish as well. And what that means is you don't need to be able to code in order to make a computer do what you want it to do, right? And so what we're doing right now is we're doing workshops with our faculty and with our students and outside folks as well, where we're helping them in 90 minutes to actually build their own custom chatbot. And this is built on top of the basic ChatGPT. So think of ChatGPT plus the extra things you want it to be. We have all these really interesting cases, and they're all specific to what the people need in their classroom. So I'll give you an example. One teacher, one instructor, they designed a chatbot that could help them to have better one-on-one conversations with their students, because they realize they're really good at research and they're really good at lecturing, but they're not as good at that one-on-one touch, right? And so they got a coach this chatbot, to help them to think through research-backed practices and how to have productive feedback conversations with students, right? And now they can almost produce and design what they want the AI to be for them, rather than somebody designing it for them and telling them what they need. So I think that's the future of education, is people having the steering wheel of their own learning. And I would say even having the steering wheel of designing what kind of learning they want in their own classrooms as well, with AI, if they want it in their classrooms.
Thank you, Josh. Another comment I would like from you is, a lot of universities, Tech de Monterrey certainly, Stanford, we're working with lifelong learning. So lifelong learning, how do you see the combination of technology, what we've been talking about, distance, digital, AI? Do you see lifelong learning getting a big push, a big thrive from all of this?
I think it has to. I don't think there's any other way. Not least because the tools that I used 2 years ago before AI and the tools that I'm using now are different. So I had to essentially retrain myself. I had to be a lifelong learner that knows what skills I want to keep, what skills I want to modify, and what skills I need to learn. But the only way I can be able to design my own learning and be the author of my own learning is having slowly practiced that skill across my education. I was really lucky in my high school, my senior year, we had this class where you could basically design your own project and curriculum. It's like, basically, what do you want to learn? And I figured out really quickly, I'm actually not that good at lifelong learning myself. I couldn't actually design what I wanted to learn, how to learn it, and how to measure if I was actually making progress towards that thing. But by experimenting with this, I actually got much better at practicing that muscle. I think it's going to be really important for our students, especially if they have to retrain over their lifetimes. Sometimes they're going to get really good professional development support in their workplace. Sometimes it's going to be on them. And the phrase that is kind of common here in Silicon Valley is, you're not going to be replaced by AI at your job. You're going to be replaced by somebody who knows how to use AI. The implication being, it's not the AI that's going to automate you away. It's going to be somebody else that knows who is proficient and fluent in how to use the tool well, that is actually going to be the thing that's going to push you out. And I don't want that future for our students. I want them to feel like they can adapt over time and they have those skills to be able to retrain slowly whenever they need it.
So in that sense, universities, we have to be able to help our students, teach our students, enable our students to use AI. If not, they are not going to get good jobs.
I think they will. I think the jobs will be there for sure. But I think that the ability for them to feel more stable in their job is going to be dependent upon how well they can keep up with the skills. So imagine, for example, you're an accountant, right? A new piece of software comes along, right? There is a new version of QuickBooks, which is something we use in North America a lot, right? Imagine if you decide, I'm just going to use the old QuickBooks, and then someone uses the new QuickBook. The reason the new QuickBooks is catching on is because it does more things faster, right? So in that sense, we already have a foundation and an imperative to help students to retrain in some tools and skills across their lifetime. But the difference with AI anyway, in my estimation, is that AI is a knowledge magnifier and a idea amplifier as well. In other words, rather than just having a piece of software produce something for me, AI allows you to think through a problem as well. It's this idea of co-authoring ideas. If you can co-author something, you're going to be producing more and probably at a higher quality as well. The second thing I'll say to this as well is a skill that's really important for lifelong learning is knowing if you're hitting your target. I'm not just going to say, I'm going to be a pro soccer player. I have to know what it looks like along the way to hit my milestones of being a pro soccer player. It's hard to know what those little steps are along the way. In education, I'd say even in higher ed as well, is this an opportunity for students to see what those small little chunks of learning look like, and to do that in social ways, in groups of students, right? Maybe there's a place inside of that for VR, maybe it's not. Maybe there's a place inside of that for AI to amplify the learning of that group as another co-authorship. Maybe it's not. but at least gives them a training ground, like a little playground for them to try these things out and see if it works towards getting towards their goals.
Josh, thank you very much. Unfortunately, time runs out quickly, and we have to come to an end. But I want to thank you for making the time to be with us, distance. And remember that you have an open invitation to come to Tec de Monterrey para que puedas practicar también tu español con más calma.
Sí, muchas gracias a ustedes y que tengas un buen día.
Muchas gracias, Josh.